What is going on, everybody? Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of another Sports Talk podcast. We're here, we hang out, and we talk sports, and we talk sports entertainment, pro wrestling, whatever you want to call it. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Got one of my buddies with me. Might have a couple more people go ahead and join, but we got my partner in crime, as always, right next to me. Anthony, how are you doing, sir?
Good, man. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with you tonight and excited to chat some wrestling and some other sports.
Yeah, I mean, um, overall sports stuff. I mean, we're kind of at that, that weird part of some of the seasons, right? I mean, from a baseball perspective, you're in that time now where free agency kind of slows down a little bit. There might be a little move here or there, but you get into the Christmas holidays, New Year's, not a lot really to go on with baseball. I mean, basketball and hockey. Basketball just finished up with the NBA Cup champions, New York Knickerbockers. You
Shout
see
out.
them there. You see their logo, which hand right over there. Which you're an NBA guy. What do you think about the NBA Cup? I mean, is it 90 days till baseball is back? That is true. Sean, how you doing, pal? What do you think about the NBA Cup and stuff like that? You being a basketball guy.
Interesting thing is, I was just talking about this last night with Big John and FD, and I asked them. I said, to me, it kind of seems like a gimmick. And then Big John goes, "Yeah, but it's working. We're watching." And I was like, touche. Because like I actually do keep up with like what teams are doing what more so than I would like at this portion of the season. So it does seem kind of gimmicky to me. Like there's not like any outside of like money, like extra money for the players. There's not really any big like to me. It's almost like the wrestling equivalent of like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is this, and there was talk about it.
What's up, Sean?
Um, in I was watching part of the Big John and FD roll, their podcast and everything, and it's each player from the winning team. I don't know how deep they go on the roster. I don't know, how that part works, but they get $530,000,
Yep.
which in most NBA teams, for the front half of the roster, right? Or maybe two-thirds of the first two-thirds of the roster. That's like nice to have, right? It's an added little piece.
Mhm.
But when you guys get to the guys that are, 10, 11, 12 on the roster, I don't know, like I said, if they go to 13, 14, or 15 or like that, right? When you go to those guys, that is a lot of money for them. I'm not saying that 500,000 is not a lot of money, but when you have, like, for the New York Knicks, you have Carl Anthony Towns making what, $40 million a year.
Mhm.
I mean, 500,000 is tip money.
Yeah, for sure.
But you get a guy who just got drafted,
Yeah.
or a guy from last year who's getting 300,000, right, or
Mhm.
400,000. Now all of a sudden you get double of what you normally would. I mean, I like that. I can see that. I think that's a good thing to have.
Mhm.
Does it make the games more watchable? I think from my standpoint is, number one, the one thing I can't stand is I do not like the floors.
Mhm. Yeah,
I, I,
they are a little distracting sometimes.
yeah,
There's
I
just a
mean,
lot going on.
yeah, they're just like crazy with the way. I don't care about that.
Mhm.
The second thing is this: is yes, we watch, but I think what I think like all the games count up until that championship game. I think the championship game is the only game that doesn't, let's say, count towards the season stuff. So all the other games count and everything. So I mean, again, we do watch and everything. You know, I mean, is it a big deal? I'm sure for obviously as a New York Knicks fan, it's nice to see some kind of, if you want to call it a championship. I mean, I don't know if you call it a championship. I really don't know what you call it, But from that standpoint, it's nice to see, you know, them being able to,
Mhm.
um, for a team that has championship, expectations or
Yeah.
wants to get something like this, I think is good. It may not like matter in all of basketball, but for the team, it's got to matter because this is the team that believes that they have a shot at potentially winning a championship. And when you can go up against another team, be down, come back, and win it, it gives them more self confidence. So from that part, I'm okay with it. Um, but overall, same type of thing. It's gimmicky, but we watch it.
Mhm.
I mean, it is what it is and everything. Hockey, there's really nothing going on with hockey. I mean, hockey's just middle of the season. I mean, there's really nothing really talked
What
about.
I'd like
We'll
to know
see if
about the cup is, before we move on to hockey, do you think the Knicks will be the first team that's won it to actually go on and win an NBA championship the same year?
you know, they have they have a really good chance to get to the finals
Mhm.
when you look at what has happened, right? When you look at what has happened in the Eastern Division. I mean, Jason Tatum, getting hurt, them kind of, losing a couple of pieces from that team. Um, you know, Cleveland, what is his name? Garland, being hurt, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Uh, you know, Milwaukee's Milwaukee with Giannis, you never can tell. So I think they could get there. It all depends on who makes it. If OKC makes it, I don't know. I don't know if they could beat them 4 out of 7 games.
Yeah, it's a tough team, man.
That's a tall task, you
That
know.
that's one thing that, FD brought up last night was, we could be seeing the ushering in of the, OKC dynasty. Do you think that this team has dynasty potential?
They most certainly do. You have to realize, right? Their first round draft pick from this last year was that kid out of Georgetown who they drafted. He's hurt. He's not playing this whole year.
Mhm.
They have the Clippers first round pick. I believe it's unprotected, which means right now that's a top 4 pick.
The Clippers are the gift that keeps on giving to them, huh?
I know. That
That's
Paul
like a
George trade was unfreaking believable. So when you look at all of that, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like with anything else, yes, you have injuries, but you do have salary cap stuff. How do they make that work? Do they, you know, do they get some of the complimentary players to take a little less to stay because like hey man, you're in Oklahoma City, great place, great town, great team, if we stick together, who knows, what can happen. Can they win 3 in a row, 4 in a row? I don't know. But if you just sit back and you look at the way the NBA, you look at NBA teams right now,
Mhm.
it's realistic that they could,
Yeah.
you
I could
know I mean, it's not like they are an old team. They're friggin' that's the part. They're
these are
friggin' young.
very Do you think that OKC's learned their lesson from the previous potential dynasty they had when they had KD, Westbrook, Harden, and, like, I think they even had, like, Serge Ibaka and a couple other people?
I do, um, and I think, just from when you listen to those guys talk, right? When after games, when they're all there and everything like that. I mean, as of right now, none of them give you the appearance as if they believe that, you know, I'm the greatest thing on this team, right? Like I have a funny feeling that when you had Westbrook, Durant, and what's his name, the Beard.
Mhm.
When you had those 3 guys, I just have a funny feeling that Westbrook kind of looked around and was like, "Yeah, we're good, but we're good because of me."
Mhm.
Durant was like, "Yeah, we're good, but we're good because of me." And the Beard was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we're good, but we're good because of me." Like I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
everything that I've seen so far, like, and when you look at their interviews that they have, when you look at what they're talking about, the way they seem to carry themselves as a team. I mean, you know, they do their post game interviews. There's like 4 or 5 guys there.
Yeah.
So I think the coaching, I think the ownership, I think they probably have gone ahead and looked at it differently. I think they probably they have a little bit better culture. Um,
Mhm.
they're the actual team itself, the organization's been around a little bit long. I know they were the Supersonics before that, but in Oklahoma City, when Durant and those guys, they were still new, like they were still new to there,
Mhm.
from that standpoint. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, you know, I think their challenge will come from San Antonio. I mean, it's another young team, very
Yeah.
young team, and everything. I mean, watching the second half of that game last night after we did our football show, it was 2 different players, and I think, "Oh,
Hey, what's up, John?
hey, don't worry about it, buddy. Go ahead and
Take your
take
time,
care of
bud.
yourself first. That's way more important." Um, I think when you watching that game, it was you could see that he's still working his way back, but you could see the difference. I mean, that Webber how what he makes. I mean, he's hitting 3 pointers like he's a freaking guard, and he's 7'4".
Yeah, it's insane.
And then he went ahead and he uh he got behind. Well, like one of the Nick players was trying to guard him, was trying to like front guard him and everything, and he
Mhm.
kind of was pushing him and he was drifting back towards the hoop, and I forgot if it was Cass or something, just threw it up to him, and he just went up and he just behind his head, just put it, basically jumped up, I don't know, this far because his
Mhm.
arms are so
Yeah.
long, and then he just kind of like, a little quick reverse dunk, and there was nothing the person in front of him was going to be able to do about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
he's
know,
a mismatch against almost anybody pretty much. It's
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
If
So,
he could bulk up like Giannis did, he's gonna be, like, nearly impossible to stop.
oh yeah, oh, most. I mean, he can handle the ball, right?
Mhm.
He can shoot from anything, mid range, long range, at the hoop. He can do all that kind of stuff and everything. So I
Yeah.
mean, so from that standpoint, I mean, the dude can, he literally can do it all on the floor. Obviously, getting hurt, the blood clot stuff is an issue. Got another injury and everything, so it's gonna, he's going to be the prime example of having all the God given talent that a basketball player could have. They have to want. What's up, Lockin?
Hey, Locking.
Now you have to wonder if God will go ahead and give him, the healthy gene.
Yeah.
Because if he can stay healthy,
That's gonna be the big thing with him, man, like,
yeah,
his health.
yeah, you know. So, but like I said, I mean, again, now it's weird. And that's the bad part about this whole NBA Cup, though, right? Looking
Mhm.
forward to it, looking forward to it. So it's over now. You're like, okay, now what?
Now it's like we're looking forward to the, All-Star game in 2 months.
Right. You look forward to the All-Star game, and then after that, you go, yeah, okay, now what? And you just wait for the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's the bad part about basketball.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
very long
um,
season.
very long season. They stretch it out even more because these guys they really. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing, sir? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, um, these guys can't play back to back games, or if they do, they gotta sit, manage,
Mhm.
rest, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Guy in hockey takes a friggin' puck to the face, shatters his teeth and everything. He goes back and you know gets a couple of stitches, and he's back out in the second period of the
Yeah.
game.
With a few less teeth.
Yeah, yeah. It is a very long season. But any of these seasons, other than football, but when you look at hockey, you look baseball, you look at basketball,
Mhm.
they're all very, very long.
Mhm.
And the thing is let's face it, we're not going to go ahead and get any owners to agree to make it shorter.
Yeah. You know what's wild? I feel like in every other sport they play more than they practice, whereas in football they practice a lot more than they play.
I'm Tommy.
'Cause a lot of these teams in like hockey, baseball, and basketball play like multiple times a week.
Yeah. I mean, hey, baseball will have where a team may play, what, and they may play what, 18 games in a 3 week time period,
Hmm.
you know, whereas, NBA, it's got to be, a little different and everything and stuff like that. And I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, um, they are, it's amazing. The thing that gets me more than anything is when you look at them, you know, there are very few um, fat basketball players,
True. A lot of running.
right? You don't see offensive type looking physiques, offensive lineman physiques
Hmm.
on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Yet they can't play. That's why it's stupid. These one and dones, right? You're 100%. I mean, when you think about how many of these guys, are going to make it, first round picks and stuff like that. I don't, I don't, I don't like the one and done. I don't understand the one and done. Like, why force a kid to go to college for 1 year?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But why not let him either just go to the G League or get drafted?
Hmm.
Like Cooper Flag.
What's up,
Wh-
Don?
what did Cooper Flag gain by going to a year in college? Like if Cooper Flag would have come out as a high school player the year before, where would he have been? He still would have been a top draft pick.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's not like he went that he. I mean, it's not like he did anything
I
that
would I
improved.
would ask, do you think we're going to go back ever to the time where people would come straight out of college, or excuse me, straight out of high school into the pros? But with the NIL stuff going on right now, there's a lot of players that'll make way more money in college than they will in the pros, especially because a lot of them don't pan out.
Yeah, I think NIL has changed, especially in football.
Hmm.
It has changed so much. When you look at what that kid, when you look at some of these kids, um, they're getting $4 million a year. Like Arch Manning is a great example. Arch Manning, he announced that he's going to go back. He's a redshirt
Hmm.
sophomore, so he was eligible for the draft. He said he was going to go back, but it makes a crap ton of sense. He's getting $4 million to play college football.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't, and that's just what he's getting through University of Texas.
Hmm.
If he signs with Adidas, if he signs with, I don't know anybody else, if he
Yeah,
signs with Subway, or then he
yeah,
signs, with McDonald's or something like that, right? He all of a sudden gets all that kind of money. G League wasn't always the thing, though. Most of the youngest got chewed up and spit out. Oh, I agree. The
yeah,
G League is not. I mean, the G League is like minor league baseball, man. Right? It's going to be the same type of thing. Your really good ones are going to make it eventually, and others aren't going to.
yeah,
You don't really need college sports.
yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be dead from a standpoint of is that what it, I think college sports the way we grew up with it, because it's just all gonna be about the money.
hmm.
You know,
Out of curiosity, Michael, which college team do you follow, if any?
um, I really don't follow a one particular team and everything. I kind of look at like a couple of players here or there, but I mean I don't really have one team, but that's And I think that's a for me personally, that's a factor of growing up, on Long Island.
Mhm.
College basketball was big for us, right? The Big East,
Mhm.
Georgetown, Seton Hall, St. John's, Syracuse, Boston College, Providence, UConn, right?
Yeah.
So more college basketball. I was a big, St. John's fan. But when it came to college football, we had either Syracuse, Boston College, Notre Dame.
Mhm.
And occasionally you would get, some of the bigger games, but there was not really that one other. So I really didn't follow. You
Mhm.
you think about it, you grow up in New York, you have 2 football teams, 2 baseball teams, 2
Mhm.
basketball teams, 3 hockey teams.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. SEC, Big Ten become more and more pro league. They will fail like the XFL, USFL, and all challenges. Yeah, I mean, I think what'll happen is the donors are not gonna be able to fund all these. Well, yeah, I mean, very good points, Logan. I don't know if I just think I think the college football it's gonna be different. The thing that they're gonna have to figure out is the restrictions on I know college coaches can do what they want to do. I get that piece. Look at Lane Kiffin, right? Boom, you fire guys and so on and so forth, everything. I think the big thing is of and it's gonna be tough because all of a sudden you're gonna try and, limit, the movement of these guys. I mean, because you think about it, right? Hey, I go to University of Tennessee.
Mhm.
I'm a running back. I think I'm going to play. I don't play. Screw you. I jump in the portal.
Yeah.
And guess what? I was highly rated. I was a top 5 overall running in the running back class. So I don't know. Texas says, "Hey, come here.
Yep.
We'll sign you. We'll give you $1 million, $2 million. You think you're gonna go to Texas, you're gonna play, and all of a sudden, shit, I don't play there."
Mhm.
You go, "Hell, the hell with screw this crap." I'll go to, then you go to Rutgers or you go someplace else. So I think that's one thing that they're gonna have, an issue with. The problem you also have, Anthony, with the NIL is that it's not fair amongst all the sports.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What I'm saying? Like the guys' volleyball team or the girls' golf team,
Mhm.
or the rugby team. They're not that, so it's not really a thing. The one thing I think should definitely happen is to me is if you have an NIL deal, you don't get a scholarship to where your education and everything is paid for you. You need to pay that. We're already, you're already getting, you're already getting the education part, and then we're going to give you. I mean, to me, I that's the one thing that I would like to see. I would like to see them, say, hey, if we are giving you, $4 million a year, Arch Manning, I'm sorry, you don't get a full ride scholarship. Let's give it to a kid who really needs it,
Mhm.
or break it in half and give it to 2 kids who really need it. Yeah, yeah. Backups have agents and all this other kind of stuff and everything. I mean, in the long run, it'll be interesting to see what it does to college football. They have to figure something out. Just like the college playoff, right? 4 teams, 14, 4 teams. Boom. Now all of a sudden here we are, it's 8 teams. And just like everybody predicted, when it was 4 teams, teams 5, 6, and 7 were bitching that they weren't in, right? Now it's 12 teams, now it's 8 teams. So 9, 10, and 11 are bitching that they're not in. And when they go to 12, 13,
Yep.
14, 15 will go ahead and bitch that they're not in.
Yep.
It's gonna be a
100%.
no-win,
Yeah.
uh, you know, situation. I know that's what I'm saying. Scholarships come before NIL, but if Arch Manning signs to go to University of Texas and they're paying him $4 million a year, he should not get a scholarship. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe you're right. We don't know if it's happening, but to me, when your NIL money gets to be that type of thing, you should be, cut off.
I think if they wouldn't though, like unless they forced everybody to not get scholarships, I think it would just entice other schools to be like, "Well, Arch, we'll give you a scholarship. We'll give you a full ride over here." You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's what it is, though. I think that should be across the board. Across the board be if you have an NIL deal, and I don't know, I know people are gonna go, well, there might be a kid who has an NIL deal and he's getting, 25,000 a year, not 4 million. I get it. Take out a loan like all the other kids then who are trying to go to that school who are not athletes.
Hmm.
Tell the kid who's a biology major who's gonna be a doctor. Ask him what they're doing. You know, no idea why a college player needs 4 million, but that's what they're getting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, like if you could get 4 million as a college player, wouldn't you? I mean, I would.
100%. And
I'd
I
be,
would
I'd be trying to get five.
right.
I'd be like, you know, my uncles, Grandpappy Arch. Like,
Yeah, and not only that, but I think then you look on top of it from a standpoint of is that, you know, to me, I think where the interesting piece comes is that's why I always talked about I've mentioned a couple of times about Arch Manning. I understand he's going back, but I'm just curious if the New Orleans Saints were guaranteed to have the number one pick this year, would he come out? Because I think that they would take him.
I
Right.
think that's like similar with WNBA a couple years ago with why Caitlin Clark came out because Indiana ended up getting the number one pick, and that was like an area that she was like desiring to either play or live.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the connection with Arch play, or excuse me, Archie playing there back in the day, you could definitely see that.
Yeah.
What do you think the odds of the Saints getting the number one pick are? I'm thinking right now there might be a couple other teams worse than them.
Oh, the Saints have 4 wins.
Yeah.
The Saints have 4 wins. It's going to come down to the Giants or the Raiders. They play each other, but there's a handful of games that are coming up that can decide a lot. I mean, the Jets play the Saints.
You know, it's going to be interesting, like with the Giants having such a low record, them getting another high draft pick. Like after just getting, Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, Scattaboo in this last draft class, like I think that it's going to be real sneaky if they get a couple extra, like really solid pieces. A team can really look like a complete difference from what we're looking at right now.
Well, they were talking about that today. I was watching, and people are saying that you're the Giants. You somehow lose to the Raiders, which I don't know how that will happen. But hey, anything's possible. You're the Giants. You secure the number one pick. What do you do? And I think if somebody wants to move up because they want Fernando Mendoza,
Mm-hmm.
and you could get a couple of first rounders and a second rounder, maybe you can get 3 picks for one.
Yep.
If you're the Giants, you got to consider doing it, depending on where that team is drafting. If you have a team that is moving up from let's say 4 or 5 to 1,
Yeah.
you're still going to get a good quality player that you can use that can improve your team.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go ahead and think about it, unless there's a guy that that you love, like this kid right here.
Yeah.
That kid at that he's going to be unbelievable. You put him on the other side of Abdul Carter,
Mm-hmm.
man, you got bookends. That's pretty good and everything. And yes, Sean, I know I keep asking the question, and I know he's not leaving this year. He's already declared. I I understand. I am going ahead. I was saying I wonder what would have happened if the draft order would have been different. So you're a pain in the ass. And that's true. And they also have Thibodeau. Well, Larkin, everything is saying right. Leading right now is people are saying that the Jets want Mendoza. I don't know. I mean, I watched him play a few games. He's good. I don't know. I don't know if he's worth the overall number one pick just because he's a quarterback. I think the kid that linebacker from Ohio State, in my opinion, is probably the top player in this draft.
I have the answer to your question.
What?
ChatGPT does, I should say. I asked if the Saints were to get the number one pick, if Arch Manning would declare for the draft. Says the short answer is very likely yes, but with conditions. Here's the realistic breakdown. Context that matters. Arch Manning's leverage is unique. He is not a normal prospect. Zero financial pressure. Family legacy NIL already massive. Total control over timeline. Long-term career is more of a priority than an immediate draft slot. So he would only declare if the situation was close to ideal. Why the Saints at number one would change everything. If New Orleans had the number one pick, several boxes Arch would care about are suddenly checked. Coaching stability. The Saints have value, QB development structure, less chaos than many number one teams.
Yep.
Strong offensive identity potential. Market fit. New Orleans is a smaller media market, football first, less QB pressure than New York, Chicago, or Vegas.
Right.
That matters a lot to the Manning family. Legacy connection, the biggest factor people underrate. The Mannings have deep Louisiana ties. Archie Manning is Saints royalty. Playing for New Orleans would feel like a risk. It wouldn't feel like, wouldn't feel like a risk. It would feel like destiny. That emotional plus historical pull is real, even if unspoken publicly.
Right.
What the Mannings would ask before declaring. Even if the Saints are number one, Arch will likely only declare if the Saints commit to him as the number one pick.
Correct.
No trade back uncertainty. Clear quarterback plan. Sit part or all of year one if needed. Veteran bridge QB acceptable. No save the franchise in week one nonsense. Offensive investment, you'd want to see offensive line protection plan, at least one reliable pass catcher, and a QB friendly system. If all those were privately communicated, declaration becomes very probable.
Yeah, he does.
When he should not declare, Arch would stay in college if the Saints front office had instability, roster teardown was incoming, coaching uncertainty, pressure to start immediately behind a bad offensive line. He'd have no reason to rush. The realistic probability, if the Saints had the number one overall pick and met the above criteria, chances that Arch declares is 65 to 75%. Chances he stays another year is 25 to 35%. That's much higher than almost any other team picking number one. So the final verdict is yes, New Orleans is the only team that could realistically entice Arch Manning to declare early. It's the perfect blend of legacy, stability, fit, control. And if you want, you can also compare the Saints versus Giants, Bears, and Raiders. Map out Manning's. No, we don't care about any of that. So, yeah, basically, he would consider, according to ChatGPT, he would consider it.
Yeah. And, hey, John, how you doing?
How's it go?
What's up, brother?
And I agree, and that's what I'm saying. But that is what NIL does until you're a senior. If you're a red shirt sophomore, you can come out, you don't have to. You be junior, you can come out, you don't have to. So you almost, in a way, you do have some control in those years of going, you know what? No, I don't want to play for the Raiders, who would probably take me overall number one. And that's just player whoever. I'm not going to declare this year. I'll go back. I'll make another 2 million, 3 million, 4 million playing high school football, from that standpoint. Buck Rogers passed away. That was it was Gil Gerard.
Yep.
Dead at 82. Slaw might be better than him though. Yeah, anything is. I mean, you definitely there's potential there. I'm not saying you're wrong in everything. I'm just thinking, NIL changes more. It changes more than just what can happen in the movement within college. Guys can easily decide to stay rather than come out, especially if you're thinking you're, pick one, pick two, or let's say pick three. It could really change things for your, decision.
You're not as desperate for money either.
Right.
What's up, Dom?
Okay, Dom, what's the breaking news? PSA bought Beckett. What do you guys think about that?
PSA and Beckett.
What do you think about that from a hobby standpoint? Good, bad, does it matter?
I don't think it matters.
It can be good and it can be bad. Like I've heard through the grapevine from people I've met at the Dallas Card Show that work for Beckett that it's going to be business as usual for them. But then again, they told SGC that initially as well.
Yep.
And I could 100% see them just going the way of SGC. I mentioned last night on FD and John's show that Nat Turner is literally pulling a Vince McMahon, going around and taking up all the big territories and making them his own and building like one big mega grading service. So kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. The thing that gets me more than anything is how Fanatics has not jumped into this game.
I gotta wonder if they were planning on it with SGC. That's why SGC was running those promos, and then PSA was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna block that." And then maybe they were trying again with Beckett, and then maybe PSA was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna block that too." I mean, because really the only other entity in this hobby that rivals PSA really would be Fanatics at this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hobby
will weigh in somehow. Then they will. They'll end up.
Well, the funny thing is they need each other.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part, right? They are directly tied to each other, even though they're different companies. Because the high grades and the dollar value for in a PSA slab makes the Fanatics product more desirable, right?
Absolutely.
Well, you have to have the desirable product for you to want to go to PSA and get it slabbed.
Absolutely.
Can't we just go back to the price guides and no grading system at all? There's so much easier.
Well, I mean,
we'll see what happens. PSA now controls the price guide, so maybe they'll bring it back.
That's true. With the whole
they do have a PSA monthly publication that if you're a PSA member, they'll send you a PSA magazine every month. So maybe you'll start getting Beckett magazines in the mail or something like that as well. That'd be kind of cool. I miss the old
Wilson. Jeff Wilson at Cards HQ PSA just opened up a submission store.
I saw that. Yeah, they're opening up a lot of submission centers. Like not just at the GameStops. Like from what I understand, they have a pretty in-depth plan to go into all of the major like LCSs, like the bigger ones that they kind of approve of that have hit their criteria as far as numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean.
Are they going to still charge $600 to walk in with the card to get it graded right away?
Yeah, absolutely. They're never going to give you a break.
That's just ridiculous.
If they can upcharge you, they will every step of the way.
I'm just curious.
But we'll still pay it because it's worth it half the time.
Right. I'm just curious if that philosophy will move to SGC and Beckett also.
I agree with you, Dom. He says Beckett sub numbers will only go down. That's what happened to SGC when this happened.
Yeah.
And the credibility of, I don't want to say the credibility of their slab is tanked, but the value of their slab has kind of tanked.
Right.
I've gotten some pretty stellar deals on SGC slabs over the last several months since they have not been a premier brand anymore. Not that they aren't. I still consider them a top 4. Like, if I see a card in their slab, it's still like a card I look at that's probably accurately graded. It's in a nice holder. And as long as it's nicely graded and it's protected, 20 years from now, if I want to move that card, I could then send it to PSA. But at least I know I'm dealing with a 9 or a 10 or whatever the heck the grade is.
Right.
You're correct there. I think the sub numbers and the value, in my opinion, will take a hit. I think it's taking a hit in SGC. I think it'll take a hit with Beckett also, and I think more of it just has to come from the fear of what happens if they basically merge in and there is no SGC, there is no Beckett. It's all PSA, and now you're sitting there with a whole bunch of SGC slabs. Does it make them more valuable, or does it make them less valuable? Like, I don't know how that part works, but I could see that affecting somebody.
Oh yeah, I think it'll affect them definitely. I don't see them going up in price and being any more collectible, but. And it's sad that they're just basically PSA being like fanatics, just trying to take over everything.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember this company, GAI, Global Authentication Inc.?
Yes.
So they used to be a top 4 company back in the day.
No way.
It used to be like legitimate. Now, like, if you're at a local card show and you see these type of slabs, most people are going to look at this like this is a generic, like, bad slab.
They were the one you could get off of HSN back in the day with Don West.
So my fear is this going to be what happens to the SGCs or something like that if they do completely do away with it? I'm hoping they do. Like, if they are going to be a boutique, let them specialize in something to where it adds value to whatever that something is.
Right.
Like, they've gotten some record numbers on vintage. So, if that's their bag, then let's focus on sending our vintage cards to SGC.
Yeah,
and let's build value there as opposed to take value away.
I mean, I like that idea. It's like you have PSA. Okay, PSA, you take all the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
SGC, you take the vintage, and then if they buy, Beckett could do, say, maybe like the Pokemon and Magic stuff.
Yeah, they've always been really big on the Pokemon community. A lot of the One Piece goes there. I know that like patch cards and autographs are all pretty commonly subbed over to Beckett as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you took your relic autograph, type cards, your PA, whatever, maybe those type of things, your relics, your autographs, that I mean, you could do that, but there's no incentive to go ahead and do that.
Right.
Back in the day, I used to always want to take whatever my most expensive cards were and send them to Beckett, because if, like, say you would drop your slab, like a PSA slab, if you drop it hard enough, it can sometimes break open. A Beckett slab, if you drop that down a flight of steps, the most it's going to do is chip a little bit. That thing is like a brick. It's just like very, very protective. They also have that inner sleeve, which I really like. A little part of me does wonder, though, if, like, say an autograph card sitting in that inner sleeve for 30 to 50 years, is that going to start to wear off onto the sleeve, like pressed up against it for that long? Like, is there going to be a transfer from the card to the sleeve? So that's the thing I worry about with it. But I love the freaking sleeve for the most part. But I do worry about
space. If they leave just a little enough there that it doesn't smash down onto the autograph, I think it could be fine. But it all depends on that there.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, the hard part is they ultrasonically seal it within. So, I mean, I've never actually slabbed a Beckett slab, so I wouldn't know. But typically, like the ultrasonic process is like you're essentially violently shaking the slab, and the friction from shaking it so violently and vibrating it is what actually seals it.
Okay.
So, with that being the case, I almost wonder if sometimes you can't control how much suction it gets to the actual card.
Yeah, that's
I'd imagine after however many years Beckett's been using the sleeve, they probably have, perfected the thing. But
well, I guess the big part, I guess the only way you would know would be on foot. You'd have to go ahead and crack it and
yeah,
stuff like that. And people are probably going to be like, no, I don't want to crack it. What if the autograph comes off on the sleeve, right? They're like, hey, I'll just leave it the way it is.
could you imagine if you had like an exquisite Jordan that was like a 9.5 and you went to crack it and then out of nowhere the Michael Jordan like stayed on the slab? I would be so sick, dude.
That would not be a good day.
No, not at all.
That would be a very, very bad day and everything. So hey, so Saturday night, a big night for wrestling. John Cena going ahead and having his retirement match. Anthony, you being the former wrestler, what is? I don't think we need to talk about the card. I mean, I'd be honest with you, 3 of the 4 matches I think were very predictable. The Cody Obafemi one was the one that I don't think really people could have known what was going to happen. But the other 2 before the main event, I think those were destined. I think those are easily predictable. But your overall thoughts on the way that whole night transpired? Being a professional wrestler.
I really only saw the butt end of the program. I started watching the end of the match before Cena because I totally forgot about it. Marty's like, dude, are you watching Cena's last match? And I was like, I'm about to. So I hopped up on. But yeah, it was interesting to watch. I was happy to see Cena got to go out, being honored. But I was also happy to see they went out honoring the next generation as well. Because there's a lot of people, like, for example, my last match, I had no clue it was my last match when I was having it, or that it would be even near my last match when I was having it. So there's tons of people that wrestle that they don't get to pick or choose when it happens or how it happens. So the fact that he got to come back, have this one last run, and kind of go off the way he wanted to, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was a treat too for all the people that haven't seen Cena in a long time, especially if you've been watching him for, the better part of his career, as the 3 of us have.
Right.
Well, what do you think about him not saying anything at the end?
What do you mean?
Just basically,
he bows to the crowd and
taking his shoes off, doing the bow, and just them never handing him a microphone.
I don't hate it. I mean, it's kind of like, to me, it was like kind of like a Hollywood ending almost. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the classic wrestling ending, but it was also like he's transitioning into Hollywood, so he kind of like gave the curtain call bow. So I kind of thought that was kind of poetic in a way.
Would Vince have done something different?
Well, from what I have read, and whether it's true or not, I don't know, is that originally he was supposed to win the match, but at the night of, he decided he did not want to win. He wanted to go out.
Mm-hmm.
He even put a thing on X, I think it was, our Instagram somewhere, that you all remember how Obi-Wan went out smiling when Darth hit him.
Yeah.
So he kind of played it to the whole movie thing.
Yeah.
So he wanted to do that.
What were your thoughts, John?
I wish he would have said something, even if he got on there and said, thank you, I appreciate you, and then walked out. But I understand where Anthony's coming from too, kind of the fade to black type deal as you're walking out. But I mean, even if they had some of the, like, if John's in the back or whatever, had some of the other wrestlers come in and just say something nice about John or something, would have been cool. But because, like I said, Peacock gave them unlimited time.
Yeah. So I'm coming from two separate camps. I'm like, the person who's watched wrestling for, over 50 years, and understood, was around when it was territories and understood how that, I didn't understand it when I was a kid, but as I got older, understanding the time honored traditions and so on and so forth, so from that standpoint, from a wrestling fan perspective, I'm completely okay with how it went. Yeah, I expected it to, especially knowing, not knowing personally, but listening to how people have talked about John and how he was a historian, how he was about the business and all the other kind of stuff. He always was doing whatever it was. He let Austin Theory beat the crap out of him. He let the freaking Miz beat him. I mean, what I'm saying? Like, so from that standpoint, he was always there to do that type of thing. So I get that part. But the John Cena fan in me is pissed. Is not happy about it because I wanted him to win his last match. I thought that when you look at, I think that tradition, I get it, but from a fan perspective, I would have rather have seen an ending that I would have rather have had would have been John going ahead and getting the win, and then Gunther beating the ever-living crap out of him after. Gunther still would have got all the exact same heat and everything that he got on Monday and all the other kind of stuff, right? So I think that all that would have gone ahead and happened. That's why I would like that. That's the John Cena fan in me, though. But I understand from a business perspective, and I know everybody's pissed off at a lot of fans and the way they were cursing, they were booing at Triple H, and then you heard the comment he made about the bloodline.
Who's Triple H?
Yeah, well, when he went and did his, the after show thing, he was, with Big E and whoever with the crowd there. The crowd was giving him the middle finger, and he goes, "Man, there must be the bloodline fans here because the number ones are really sticking up today." There's a lot of people. There's a lot of bloodline fans here because they got the ones in the air.
That's awesome.
But honestly, I think to go ahead and think that Triple H wanted it this way, I think Triple H would have been okay with it. But I think Triple H, there was no way he was not going to let John call how this match was going to end. This was all going to be John Cena.
Yeah.
This was not going to be one of those ones, John was going to decide how it was. If you watched it, you saw how much John was talking to Gunther.
Oh yeah, he ran that match.
Yeah, he was calling everything, So from that standpoint, like I said, for me, the wrestling fan versus the John Cena fan, two different feelings towards it. But I wasn't surprised. And as soon as I saw him start to smile, I was like, oh, okay. The tap out is getting ready to come.
I mean, I would have rather him smiled and then just passed out would have been for me better, but
open to the old Stone Cold Steve Austin Bret Hart finish.
Yeah. I don't think any fans would have been disappointed with that.
But I think with all the hype prior to that match with Gunther saying, "I'm going to make you tap out, I'm going to make you tap out," I had a feeling that's how it was going to end.
Well, the other thing is this. I'm going to, if you're a wrestling fan, again, if you're a wrestling fan and you know things, I'm going to make John do something that he hasn't done, he's going to quit. That's not true. John has tapped out, I believe it's at least four times, I think it was, maybe 5.
4 times.
Yeah, there have been 4 matches where he has tapped out, that he has gone ahead and quit. So, but again, if you're not a wrestling fan, if you haven't been following the last 20-something years, you're right. If you're a newer fan who has only been around, the last 5-8 years, yeah, you've never seen John Cena go ahead and quit. You saw him get the crap beat out of him, but you never saw him go ahead and tap or quit or anything like that. From that standpoint.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded something Monday night. Like, I know he said he was, that was his last match, but have him come out and have the problem on Monday night would have been cool. But again, it's his call, so he did it his way.
Yeah. Do they announce him going into the Hall of Fame in 2026 right away? Or you think they make him, you think he waits? Because as of right now, he'd be going in with, so far they've Stephanie McMahon and Bray Wyatt are two. I don't know how many more they're going to have.
I would think they'd probably wait just because they already have two pretty big names right there in Stephanie and Bray. I mean, I don't know.
Usually there's like 4 that usually go in, 4 to 5.
And normally there's like 1 or 2 like pretty big names. I guess it depends on how big a name you think Stephanie or Bray are.
I mean, I think Bray is bigger than Stephanie, but that's just me. I mean, and you still haven't seen The Rock either. When's he gonna get in there?
Yeah, you're probably right, Dom. Maybe twice, but probably mostly only once a year. He would show up and everything like that. So, I give him credit. When you look at The Undertaker, he lost that match to Roman Reigns, and what was that, WrestleMania 36, I think it was. And he took his hat off and his gloves and his trench coat and left them. But then he kind of was around, not around. Then he had his last match, the COVID year. That they had he had the cinematic match with AJ Styles. From that standpoint, which was his final match.
And he won his final match supposedly. So there you go. I mean, there's that.
Well, he
also come back as one-offs, little like he did with the Cody match at WrestleMania. So I can see John doing something like that. Maybe showing up as a general manager if they ever do that again, type deal. But other than that, I don't think you'll see him actually wrestle the whole match. Could be wrong.
These movie companies that are paying him millions of dollars probably don't want him to wrestle either because it basically risks
the insurance possible. Yeah. That's why you don't see The Rock do as much. Like he'll come out and do stuff, but it's little stuff. It's not a full match, and that's all due to insurance issues.
Yeah, for sure.
No, you're right, Dom. Towards the end, Taker was the same thing. These guys, they've taken such a beating. It's the guys that wrestle today are going to be able to wrestle longer than the guys from yesteryear. Don't forget, when John Cena started wrestling, what were they doing? Like 250 shows a night? I mean, a week? I mean, a year? Golly.
If not more.
Right. They were doing, so he was probably wrestling, taking that abuse 250 times a year.
But I will say, look at Cena compared to like Undertaker and a couple of these other guys that are retired. He's still built pretty good.
Yeah.
He's slower, but I mean, he's still got the build. He's still doing pretty good working out. But
but now you look at that's right. And he came from legit indies. He was around, and Undertaker was also. And I'm saying a lot of these guys have been, but once they make it, like you look at a lot of these guys, Seth Rollins, I'm here all the time. Yeah, but you're still only wrestling once a week.
Yeah.
Or if you have a pay-per-view, so all right, so it's once a week, maybe, and then 12 other times a year, maybe. Right? Like it's not like you're doing, hey, on Monday I'm going and I got a house show on Wednesday, a house show on Friday, and then Monday again, right? You're not getting in the car and driving, 500 miles to get to the next city or so on and so forth, because they don't do that stuff anymore.
Right. Back in the Attitude Era, they did.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my question, you guys. Besides Gunther, who would you have liked to see Cena be in with his last match? If it wasn't Gunther.
Wouldn't have minded seeing Dominic Mysterio get a push. That'd be a good way to push him to the main event.
Yeah.
It'd been cool to see those two in an I Quit match and have them do the old Rock Mankind gimmick where,
I quit.
Like, I'll never quit. I'll never say I quit. And then, he plays it over the loudspeaker. That'd have been cool to see.
I don't know. I mean, Roman wouldn't have been a bad one.
No.
Seth wouldn't have been a bad one. I don't really think any of the other younger guys, like I don't think Breaker or Reed or any of those guys, because I'm not there from that standpoint. The thing that gets me is that, okay, to your point about Dominic Mysterio of him getting a push, what does this do for Gunther?
Hopefully it gives them a push. Like, hopefully they'll start to push him to the moon.
Hopefully.
But I agree. But let's take SmackDown. You already have Cody and Drew are doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have on Raw, you have Breaker and Punk, right? And at some point Rollins is going to go ahead and come back, and he's going to want to get a piece. Yep. So that's a thing that to me, that's the one thing that I don't understand the whole Gunther thing. What does he do now? Is he just gonna? I mean, you literally have to kind of almost make him destroy every single person that he goes into the ring with.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to have him retire AJ Styles now.
Right. Well, a interview that on TMZ, they had a short out on YouTube with the interview of Gunther after the match. Well, probably a couple days after, or whatever. But he basically said, he wasn't mean or anything like that, really. Basically said, tune into Monday night, you'll see where I'm headed next. So I don't know what that means, or I think he's going to end up doing a run with AJ to retire AJ. I have a feeling that's coming.
Yeah. He's going to make AJ Styles tap out. But again, I mean, so then what? So let's talk about Jericho coming back. So what does he return? So then now is he the retirement match guy? Is he the guy who fights all the old guys?
The legend killer,
right? He's taken over that moniker from Randy Orton. Remember, Randy Orton used to be called the Legend Killer.
Sleeper hold out of nowhere.
That's the thing that gets me from the standpoint of it is like I don't. If it was a younger, I could see if, like, to me, Carmelo Hayes would have been like, wow, you know what I'm saying from that standpoint. I think there were, I think there were just there are some other guys that I just thought could have used more, or not used more, but they could have gained more. Gunther is already a long running Intercontinental champion. He's a world champion.
See, that's what gets me. If Gunther had not been a world champion, I could see this all the way, because then you get to push him up to that rank. But he's already been the champion, so it's like it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, that would be a pretty cool thing to put under his belt, though. Like, I retired this many world championships, because Justin Cena, there's 17, and you figure everything that Jericho and AJ have done in their careers.
Goldberg,
yeah.
Goldberg has won some,
Yep.
So I don't know. I think it's
Randy's in his later years too. So I mean,
he could retire Randy. I mean, the new Legend Killer takes out and retires the old Legend Killer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I said I understand those type of things, but present day right now, it just seems as though you already had some things in place if you want to put a belt on him.
Yeah.
I mean, would you want him to be the IC champ? Would you want him to be the US champ?
No, this has got to be a push for one of the championship belts.
This would have to be like one of the two big ones for me too.
But I have to agree with Anthony. I would have liked to see Dom there, because I think it would have given him a good push.
What would have been cool?
Clean.
If the cool thing would have been if he would have cheated and then played Eddie Guerrero's music and then gone into a full-blown Eddie Guerrero gimmick for like the next several months, like
there you go.
Where he's just lying, cheating, and stealing all the way to the top. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
and sort of play off of the whole he's Eddie's kid gimmick from back in the day.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I it's going to be interesting to see where the WWE takes this. They have, I mean, you know, I can't even say they have a great opportunity with it. That's just it. Like I just don't understand. I mean, again, it's not that, you know, it's the who, it's the, you know, knowing Cena was going to lose is one thing, but the who was like the big part. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think they should put some additional people around Gunther to give him a little more heat? Like maybe like a female valet or, you know, like a Paul Heyman type?
I don't know, because as much as this match brought him so much heat and he just kept going with it Monday night,
Yeah.
I don't know if he really needs it. I mean, and I don't know who you'd put with him woman-wise. I mean, but there, I mean, like you said, there could be something like that, but or do you have him join the Vision? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me at all, but it is
No.
WWE.
You would think, look, that the scene Monday night when AJ was sitting out by his car, that sets something up for that.
Yes.
Um,
Especially when Gunther drove past him like this.
yeah.
You knew that you're like, yeah, this is going to be a match coming down the road.
But you would think there might be like a quick opponent or somebody that would have been like somebody who was, you know, I don't know if, you know, John wasn't around that much, as Dom said, over the last, you know, you take away 2025, you go back from the COVID, you know, through 2024, he wasn't around that much, you know, so it's not like you can say, man, this was my buddy and you took him out, you did everything, I'm pissed off at you, I'm going to go at you. I mean, AJ Styles seems to be maybe taking that up, but how long are you going to make that last? You know, I mean, how much do you do that? Because you got to figure, okay, are you gonna put AJ and him at WrestleMania? And is that, you know, is AJ retiring that quick? But I know AJ said sometime in 2026 is going to be it for him.
Yeah,
he's already announced that.
Personally, if you had to pick your last match, wouldn't you want to go out on like a Mania or like, you know, a grand stage?
Yes, not Saturday night's main event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In Washington, D.C. You know?
I mean, he could have went out. I mean, I know he had the date set, but I mean, he could have went out during Survivor Series in a separate match.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, to me, Survivor Series would have been the time to go, you know, from that standpoint. But again, you could I mean, you know, it's at any one of those big pay-per-views, a retirement match is not the main event.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have John Cena and Gunther close out night 2 of WrestleMania.
No, that would
imagine, you know, and everybody wanting him to win, and that happens. Oh my goodness gracious!
You do that, it would have to be night 1.
Oh my Lord, you have to win. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't. So it makes sense that it would happen at something like this,
right?
When you think about it now, right? It's only you. There's no other big thing going on. There's not, you know, it's not one of the big 4 or big 5.
And AJ hasn't technically put it out there on TV that he wants to per se. Really hasn't really put it out there like John Cena did. I mean, I would rather see Gunther Randy, because Randy and John came up in the same class.
Yeah, they did. That was a good class.
It was him, Batista, and Cena.
Was Brock in that class too, or was Brock before them?
I think Brock might have been a year after that, maybe, or a couple months after. I can't remember 100%, but I know it was a good class that came up. I would have rather seen, instead of AJ there, have Randy there. That would have been a better thing because I know John Cena and AJ are close friends and all that, but I just think Randy would have made a better.
Well, but I think the thing is that if you're building up Gunther as this I retire superstar guys,
then you have to go with AJ.
then
Yes,
you have to go with AJ Styles.
Class. I just looked it up. It was Brock, Batista, Randy, and John. 2000 era.
You know, you figure from that standpoint, you kind of have to have it be AJ because unless Randy said he was going to retire, then that would kind of sort of make sense. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I don't think it. It's not like. I think the one thing is we're not going to miss that much because the truth of the matter is, if he didn't announce, whatever at the end of 2024, that 25 was going to be his last year, and he was going to, wrestle X number of times and stuff like that. I mean, nobody's really going to miss him, because he hasn't, like what Dom said, the last 3 years, 4 years prior to this one, he wasn't around much.
No.
So two questions on the class here. Do you, number one, consider Batista to be retired?
I do.
As far as wrestling?
Yeah,
I do.
If Brock and Randy are the last two active wrestlers in this class, who do you think will be the last of the Mohicans, Brock or Randy?
Randy. Because Brock has already announced that he only wants to do a couple more actual matches. He's put that out there that I think it was like 4 or 5 more matches, and that was it for him. And I could not see Gunther retiring him. That would make no sense.
But Brock, believe it or not, is a lot more like Cena from what people have said.
He is, yes, but I just
from a standpoint of the history and the way things were going and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah, but he said he was done. From that standpoint, because if you remember that WrestleMania when Brock came in and he threw the belt after he came through the curtain, he threw the belt at McMahon, because up all the way up until like Showtime, Roman was supposed to win. It was supposed to be a passing of the torch type thing, and then all of a sudden, Brock had wanted it that way. He wanted to have happen and everything, and McMahon changed it, and Brock was pissed off.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't think Brock will have a retirement. I think it'll just be okay. Last match, and he's done.
He doesn't seem like the type that would want that, that
whole rigmarole and the pomp and circumstance that goes with it.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Say that again.
We'll wrestle a match. We won't even know it's his last one until it comes out, like in the news sheets and all that. He's retired. Yes, Tom, we know.
Hey, it's like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize, like, Hulk Hogan's last match was, like, I think a 6-man tag match or something along those lines. But Bully Ray, Kevin Nash, him, and I forgot where it was, and it wasn't, anything special.
No.
That was the last time he wrestled in a ring. So some of these guys don't get that. Now, Hulk got that thing. You saw that, Cena, and I think it was Cena and Punk at the time, or Cena or Punk and somebody who did it to Hulk Hogan when he was kind of at his end of his WWE thing, and when he was kind of like in his last match, but not in his last match type of thing and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward. I don't know what any kind of, I really don't see any kind of big plans, of what they have for Gunther. I don't get it unless, again, it's like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and my next thing is I'm going to beat up, AJ Styles and I'm going to retire him. But I mean, what's going to have to happen is, to your point, John, AJ is going to have to, come sometime in January or something and saying, hey, you know what? SummerSlam is going to be, the end for me. or Money in the Bank or whatever it may be. Like a Money in the Bank would be a good pay-per-view for a retirement match, right? You know what I'm saying? Because Money in the Bank, there's really not okay, ooh, so and so got, it's more Money in the Bank is more about the match than it is of actually who gets the briefcase.
Right.
With the
Elimination
ladder.
Chamber wouldn't be bad either.
Pardon me?
Elimination Chamber wouldn't be a bad time to do it either.
No, but that would be
when he wants to go out.
Right.
I mean, they could have it to where Gunther wins the Royal Rumble and goes after one of the champions. That's something they could see them planning too.
I gotta wonder if they may continue to, if they use Cena for a Saturday night's main event, like maybe it'll be not like that, like subpart of a pay-per-view, but maybe they'll use like AJ at like one of the Jeddah shows, or they'll use him at like one of the sub-tier premium live events that they do to get more people paying for it, more people going to it, because like Saturday night's main event looked like WrestleMania with all the celebrities that were there just to see John Cena. So I think if they could keep capitalizing on that, like it would probably make better sense, because I think the people running it now care more about the finances than they do the actual product, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I watched the guy who spent $15,000 on tickets to go to that Saturday night main event.
Oh, the Canadian guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike went ahead and he was watching that video too.
Would you tell the green shirt guy?
Would you have felt like you got your money's worth if you paid $15,000 to see that?
No.
I don't know if I would have felt like I got my money's worth if John Cena would have walked over and handed me his shoes and his little armbands by himself.
I probably would have been the only way.
Yeah.
But for $15,000, and you don't get backstage at all.
Yeah.
It was just basically John came out, took pictures with people, and that was it. And it's like,
I mean, you get the chair if you're a certain number of rows and everything.
Yeah, he was.
But Anthony, you make a great point from a standpoint of is that those type of matches with those type of superstars, there's no need to put them at top tier PLEs because those are going to sell. Right. You make a really good point from that standpoint,
But
a Saturday night's main event, actually, it's probably the one where you have the best chance of selling out the building and having a massive gate for it.
Yeah.
But did you think AJ is as strong as a draw as John Cena is?
No, that's why I think it would go to a larger, not like one of the major ones, but like a more established premium live event than the Saturday night's main event. Because really, Saturday night's main event is basically like a glorified Raw, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of what it was back in the day.
Yeah, well, that's the way it always was.
Yeah.
And now you have to figure, with a bunch of these being overseas and stuff, that's something you have to figure out. I mean, if you're AJ Styles, are you going to want to, have your retirement match at Clash at a Castle?
I can't see him retiring anybody overseas.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, except for maybe like a Rhea Ripley or one of those Australians, like when they go to Perth, I could see that possibly in front of their home crowd being retired. But other than that,
yeah. But you're talking when you think about your athletes with more of a foreign tie. None of those are really old. Like none of those are at retirement age unless would be like an injury or something along those lines.
Right, I agree with that. There, I'm just saying that's the only way I could see them possibly doing a retirement match overseas.
Yeah, like if they had a match in Germany and Gunther was 45 years old, you could go, oh hey, a good place for you to go ahead. Yeah, Austria, Germany, the whole thing. Yeah, that's close enough.
And now what are they going to do with Austin Theory now that he's been revealed? Does he just go back into the back dark area of the stage and nothing happens, or does he keep coming out in the outfit to try to stomp people?
Or maybe he goes into those back parts of the stage and he sees a man by the name of Joe Hendry.
Mm-hmm.
He appears, I believe
yeah. Back in the dark halls, and he finds his little love interest in Grayson Waller. I don't know.
I don't know. To me, when we talked a little bit last night is that, if he's part of the vision, why'd he run all the way up the stairs? Like, why didn't he do what he did and just like stood outside the ring, and Punk still could have been standing on top of the rope pointing down at him. So, and because the vision was already there. So that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait till Monday, I guess, to find out if all of a sudden he shows up with the vision. But again, if you put him with the vision, okay, what? Well, again, what's the plan? It doesn't seem like, you had an opportunity, so obviously you got Breaker going. So what are you going to take Austin Theory and Logan Paul? Are they going to become a tag team, and then they're going to try and get some tag belts so you can get a tag belt, and you could go ahead and get a world championship belt? But then you take
I could see
Reed. Are you having him going after Dom's IC title? I don't know.
I could see the tag team. I could see that. That's about the only thing. And here's another good question, because we all know it's coming due eventually. Rey Mysterio's final match. I mean, I can't see them putting him up against Gunther. That would make no sense at all.
He would just die.
I mean, he's beat the Big Show, but I mean, I'm just saying.
TV truck again.
Just because I know that's coming eventually here, I'm sure.
I mean, if I'm Rey Mysterio and I get to choose, I gotta believe I'm choosing my son.
For sure. That'd be an awesome way for him to go out, as Dirty Dom cheating to retire his dad. Or just doing something like totally,
That's a place where the whole Eddie Guerrero thing would be awesome for him to, the chair, the boot coming on, all that kind of stuff that he did comes into it.
You could basically be like, you were never my real dad anyway. Like that type of gimmick towards it.
And then at the end, do they reveal that he is his real dad? Like in Ray's outfit, in Ray's gear, was the proof, and it gets hit, and a piece of paper flies up in the air after Dom beats him, and he's reading. He's like, "No!"
Or reads it and then picks up his dad and gives him a big hug.
Right.
But yeah, that's just I can't see. Like I said, I forgot that he was still wrestling, even though he should be retired. But yeah, this whole AJ storyline is going to be interesting to watch and see what they try to pull out of the hat, because they're going to have AJ drop the tag team titles before this match.
Yeah, I think at some point in time, we will see the Usos, I think, having the titles back around them. I think it's the best thing that'll be for the WWE. I mean, they don't really. I mean, let's face it, because the truth of the matter is they really don't give a crap about the tag team championships. I mean,
no, they haven't in a long time. I mean, they have so many good wrestlers that they do nothing with, like that they're giving zero push to. If they would just take those wrestlers they have zero interest in pushing as a singles wrestler and just be like, okay, you guys are going to start teaming up with like people you have chemistry with, and like actually build the tag division that they had back in like the 70s and the 80s and even into the early part of the 90s, like it could be good again. I mean, even the late 90s with like the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and all them, like tag team wrestling was really good back then.
Yeah, you had some good ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, they put AJ Lee. They put AJ Styles and Dragon Lee together.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. That's those two guys. You would think, yeah, no, that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's a lot you can do. To me, they have way too much talent for the amount of on TV wrestling that they do.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
And isn't this Friday supposed to be the 3-hour going back to the 3-hour Friday Night SmackDown? Is that in January?
I think it's starting January, but I'm not sure. It could be starting this week. Yeah, but yeah. So they tried that. It is what it is. I don't know. I mean,
because you don't even get a 3-hour Monday Night Raw anymore. So why would you do a 3-hour SmackDown?
Probably because more people. Probably. I mean, although there are a lot of people that have Netflix, they probably are looking at viewership and they're saying more people have cable TV and get USA. So we might as well get a little more time there because we're not getting it with Netflix. So that I can think of.
That's true. I don't see this going anywhere good for WWE for the next couple of years. I mean, we're never going to get the excitement we had back in the Attitude Era. That's just not going to happen. And that's when it was fun to watch. You used to love watching what was going to happen next. You didn't know. It wasn't quite as predictable.
Well, I think it's a lot different. I mean, let's face it. You went from a mom and pop, even though it was huge, it was still owned by, the McMahons. So you basically still had even though it was global, it was, still a mom and pop type thing. And now you've been bought out by a corporation, and a corporation, they're just looking at they're looking at the profit and loss, man. That's what they're doing. They're looking at the P&L. They're going, holy crap. Yeah. What are we going to do? And stuff like that, and the funny thing is it's that you would think they'd be able to do more, make more if they did more, but they're doing less
and charging more.
Look at it this way. Why would they cook you a meal if you're satisfied eating something out of the microwave?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think what's going to be real interesting is, look, you have the Rumble is in Riyadh this year, right? The first of the larger pay-per-views. We've already been told WrestleMania in 2027 is going to be in Saudi Arabia also. Mm-hmm. And that's going to suck for the base of your fans. But I understand you're going to go where, it's a money thing. That's why they're doing more of it.
Yeah. I got to wonder how many United States citizens or people that are not from Saudi Arabia or the Middle East will actually travel to the Middle East for WrestleMania. I'm sure some people will, but I mean, I got to imagine just the fact that it's over there is going to turn off a vast majority of people potentially feeling unsafe or whatnot.
So if you're a guy or a girl who is a consistent, like smiley face guy, right? Green shirt guy, and some of the other people that we consistently see, in those first few rows, right, on the camera side. Why are you gonna go when you ain't getting no seats in Saudi Arabia?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe that you're gonna go ahead and pay more than the Crown Prince to put his people there in the front row, right? So are you gonna have to travel halfway around the world, pay who knows how much, be an American in that country, and then sit who knows where?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I haven't looked on just because.
I looked. I don't know which one I looked at. I think it might have been one of the ones further down the road than that, and because there's selling tickets for just about all of them right now, all their PLEs and all that. And one of them I looked up, there was not many seats left.
No, there won't be. They'll sell out a lot more overseas than they will here. Right? Because you only have one shot to go to a WWE event if you're in Saudi Arabia, right? If you're a local guy in Saudi Arabia, they come once a year. It's the only one you got to go to.
True.
Right? right? Where you're someone in the U.S. up until, let's say, the last couple, right? Even still, like what this past year they had what 2 or 3 overseas. So if you have, let's say, we're saying there's 9, let's say there's 12, there's 9 other opportunities for you to travel somewhere in the U.S. to go. You could easily go, I'm not going to that one. I'll go to this one here. But if you're in Saudi Arabia, if you're in Ireland, if you're in France, if you're in Australia, when they go there, it's going to sell like crazy, like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's tangible too. If you live in the States, you can go to several events a year. I mean, because you figure most cities get Raw and SmackDown. Then they might get NXT. They might even get like an AEW appearance. I know we're talking WWE, but for the most part, you're going to get those. But then neighboring cities, like for example, in Pennsylvania, there's Pittsburgh, but then there's Du Bois, which is like an hour away. They also get events. There's Cleveland, that's like an hour and a half away. They also get events. You know what I mean? So if you're smart about it, you can actually hit a lot of events. You know, plus like going to the bigger ones, it's easier to travel within the States. Safer too, in my opinion.
So on this website, direct.net, they're saying Royal Rumble tickets sold out in 1 day.
Dang. Not surprised.
Now, they're cheap, which I'm surprised. They're very, very cheap. But they're saying they were priced cheap. General admission was $21.33. Premium was $133.33. Platinum, $186.67. Diamond was $240. VIP was $320. And a VV. So not only are you a very important person, but if you're a very, very important person, $400.
So you spend $400 and a flight out there in a hotel for the night. Just saying, you could go.
Yeah, you could go.
December 27th, Anthony, they're coming to Pittsburgh.
I know. I'll be in California, unfortunately, because I'm going to see the in-laws for Christmas.
When tickets went on sale, there were 860,000 people in the queue.
Dang. Wow. They're going to need a bigger arena for that.
Let's see. I'm going to go to Ticketmaster just to see if they're actually sold out. Oh, you can't even. It takes you to this, like, book your tickets for $21.33. Let's see what it says. Oh, you got to have an email. Never mind. It's on some WBK or something like that. Huh. It says they're still available. Tickets are still available.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell me what you get for that VVIP.
I'd be curious to know what they're going to go for in the secondary market as it comes closer.
Probably go for some good money.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'd be flying from Philly. To Riyadh. What's that going to cost me?
There are plenty of sports. You're right, Dom. A lot of stuff's going there.
When is Royal Rumble again? What day?
'30th of January.
30th of January. Okay. So I have to fly in that Thursday before. That's on a Friday. That's weird.
What?
It says it's on a Friday then.
It's probably the time difference.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the SmackDown. SmackDown. So it's the 31st.
Okay. Let's get rid of that. No, go
Yeah, I'm sorry. The 31st.
So those 2 days I would need. And let's just see, economy. I feel like it's going to be like 10 grand.
Have either of you guys ever been to a Mania or a Rumble or any of the other like big events?
I've never been to the big events. I've been to Raw back in the 90s quite a few times, and SmackDown, but that was it.
I've only been to either one. I don't know if it was a Raw or a SmackDown. Only one. Although I went, I did go to Royal Rumble when it was here in Atlanta. That was when Maven eliminated the Undertaker.
Nice.
And then the Undertaker took him up through the crowd. I was able to score 4 tickets.
Nice.
From in Home Depot's suite.
Nice.
And Maven and Undertaker, well, I should say they came up there. Undertaker took Maven up the stairs that went right underneath where, underneath the suite that we're at, up and out into the crowd, basically right behind our suite. So we open up the door and everything, and there's Maven and Undertaker, and you watch Undertaker throw Maven into the popcorn machine, and popcorn goes flying everywhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, I went to there was a Pittsburgh Royal Rumble back when Batista won. I think that was in like the mid 2010s sometime. And then I went to WrestleMania 39 when it was in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I was living there at the time. I was like, if WrestleMania is coming to where I'm living, I might as well get tickets.
Might as well, yeah. So. Well, all right, fellas. Hour and a half, a lot longer than I thought we were going to go. So thanks a lot for hanging out. Much appreciated. John, let's talk about what we want to do for next week.
Do you want to just skip next week since it's Christmas Eve?
Well, I was thinking, or do we just want to? We don't want to go back to back with Dialed In, do we? And Dialed In, and then just fire up live here
On Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Good if you want to.
We'll figure it out. Let's see.
That works. Does anybody want to know the matches for tomorrow night or Friday night? And
yes, please. If you have them, fire away.
I do. I am, because it was taped this past Monday after Raw. So you're gonna, yeah. It was a tape show. There's a whole thing. Somebody put up that this Friday's was taped Monday. Next Monday is going to be taped tomorrow on Friday for Monday the following week, and they go back to normal after Christmas. So you're going to have the United States Championship showcase. Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes defeat DIY.
What?
You have the women's single Julia.
You don't have to say the results.
Oh, well, I didn't know you wanted to. I said, do you want to know what happens? You said,
I thought you meant just the matches.
So you're going to have Julia and Alba Fire.
Yes. Regarding you, Eric Bischoff.
I know, right? You're going to have Nia Jax and Lash Legend go up against the Kukabuki Warriors. You're going to have the Wyatt Six and versus the MFTs. Then you're going to also have a backstage Damian Priest and Rhea, the Terror Twins promo leading to Alistair and Zelina attack backstage. You're going to have, following the match, the women's tag team match, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are going to come out and attack everybody. I won't tell you besides that one that you know. That's the matches. So pretty uneventful from what it looks like.
It does look like it. It does sound like it. It doesn't sound like much.
I mean, you're not going to have Cody. You're not going to have anybody.
Well, I mean, come on. Cody's an emotional wreck. You saw him on Saturday.
Really?
Come on, I know. This was not right, man.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, maybe there's something special. I mean, there is talks of Jacob coming back for the Royal Rumble, Seth coming back for the Royal Rumble, which are plausible, seeing that Seth isn't wearing a sling anymore. But anyway, enough said.
Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for hanging out. Much appreciated.
Keep an eye on the channel. We might be next Tuesday going live after Dialed In.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out over the next couple of days. But thanks a lot. Don't forget, we don't see you. Have a great weekend. Or I should say, we won't see you. So have a great weekend. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. If we don't, we'll definitely be on Dialed In on Tuesday for sure.
Yes.
Yup.
We do it I was going to say we could do a collab. We'll do a collab. Hey, Dialed In and another. We'll do a big collab.
Stay safe. Treat those you want to be treated, people.
Yep. Have a good one, everybody.
Johnny, love you. Clemens is number one.